So, hello everyone. So, Leaving Cert is nearly, well, basically we're in the final really stages, final few months before the Leaving Cert, because you don't find it, particularly as somebody that had done the Leaving Cert last year, you don't find it from Christmas to the Leaving Cert, you don't find it until the Junior Cert. And hopefully they do, again, I suppose it's not finalised yet, and I suppose there's still uproar about it. But they will, and I do think as a student for last year, and I will say this straight, that it was beneficial to the students and beneficial to people's mental health doing the leaving sort. That you had a choice, that you could sit some exams and you could choose to have predicted grades and others. So basically, in other words, and I do think it's more beneficial. Somebody that was in LCA too, which were continuously assessed. Every time you went school, everything you done was continuously assessed, and obviously had tests and X, Y, and Z. And that was more beneficial, and the teachers could give a better grade. Even though I never opened my leaving cert results from last year, I was speaking to people in my class. They said it was a lot beneficial because they went to school every day and they done all the assignments and everything, and the teachers could get them an estimated grade for all that work they did and how they were doing the test. And I know one student, just for example, that wanted to do engineering. He wanted to go on to be an engineering teacher. And he just opted to do the engineering, just to sit the engineering course. And he done very, very well in that. And as he said to me, and as he put it, I wouldn't have done well if I had to do the other subjects, if I had to do maths, English, French, all that. And it would have been far too much in them. I do agree with him that he needed to engineer, and obviously he needed to do engineering to benefit his career and things like that. Thankfully, he has an apprenticeship and everything like that, and working with somebody in an engineer with work experience in X, Y, and Z. But it benefited. It benefited him because he could only focus on one subject. He didn't have to focus on all the other subjects. And he got predicted grades, and he done very, very well in the predicted grades. Because he worked hard. Again, other people looking in would have said, it's ridiculous. Young people want to just get off with it and not have to do exams and X, Y, and Z. But we have to understand that you have to work to get this too. You have to work. These predicted grades, I was in school, I don't know what I got in predicted, I never looked at my exams, as I said. But everything that I done in meta work and everything and all the other subjects was added to the grade. The teachers can grade, the teachers could say predicted grade. It was given a predicted grade on your estimated amount. Say it was done well in English, say it done well in story, poetry or whatever. Say you take, for example, the teacher would be like, we done well in this and give me a mark. And explain, look at the papers to see how well would have done and estimated. And obviously your teachers that you had, I know some people said they could be biased, but obviously they would be fair. And obviously last year was more of a hellhole situation than any other year. For Leaving Sutton was difficult. But I do take the Leaving Sutton, again, this is just putting it straight, that the Leaving Sutton in this country is out of date. It's not with modern times, let's be honest, it's not with modern times. It's really no benefit. I walked into a job I never was asked for the leaving cert. Never was asked for this. And I'm in the civil service. Nobody ever asked for the leaving cert. Fuck all was said about it. Basically, nobody cared about it. And that's the same in a few jobs too. That many of my friends said they do weekend jobs and things like that when they were at college. And nobody ever asked for the leaving cert. Some did. But many didn't. Many didn't. They just took it on face value. If the person's good, is the person a hard worker, X, Y, and Z. They just kind of took it on face value and from the rate of view. They didn't really look into it. They just, because people can tell who's willing to work and who's not willing to work. Um, you know. But again, it comes along, and again, I say this for this year, that it should be the same as last year, really should be, because I do think it benefits young people's mental health, and I think it reduces the stress. And, it surprised me last year, and I would say this straight, it surprised me how many people actually opted to sit more exams than I would have thought they would have been able to do. Like people opted for predicted grades. You could have two choices: predicted grades and sit in the exam. And basically you had nothing to lose. You done the predicted grades and you done the exam too. So many people did do it. Many people did, and I was very surprised. A lot of people did English. Done other subjects too that they wouldn't have done, but they done it because they had the option. They had other options. And they done it, and it was great. It was great to see that. That no young people not like myself. I was just like, fuck it, I'm just finished with everything. I'm fed up with everything in the school, in the education system. I'm just completely done with it. I don't give a shit. I never sat one of them. I was just like predict the grades, and I never looked at. So I never looked at my results. Still, about 5 months later, I never bothered to look into them. I never bothered to go and ask the department for the results. So yeah, it's a great country. But yes, but um in my case, I found it senseless and I just not bothered. and just because I wouldn't satisfy Norman Foley to open my results. So it's a bit of a protest against Norman Foley too at the same time. But yeah, I just couldn't give a shit. To be totally honest, I was past giving a shit when it came to the leaving sort about my own queer. I couldn't give a shit about that. But that's just me. That's just me. But again, I do think it's beneficial. I do think it's beneficial, the system we have. We might have to tweak it a bit, iron out the fine details. But I do think the same as last year would be better this year too. And I do think a lot of students would sit a good few exams. But again, this is the thing. As one student did say to me too, as he said, the post that was talking about the medical teacher going on for medical teacher, there was no point sitting exams that was senseless to you that you would never use. Like, take for example doing his French exam. Like, what benefit would that be to anybody, and him being an engineering teacher? What benefit that would that be? And again, as he said, it would reduce the stress, and it can make his mind focus on one subject. Like, take for example, you had 6 or 7 subjects that had an exam, and over a few days. That's a lot of pressure on a young person. Let's be fair, on a young mind, it's a lot of pressure. And that's something there's too much stress and too much anxiety and annoyance in the country. At any given moment, before even COVID came along, there's enough annoyance in people's minds. And I do take last year, and again, I do stress this a lot. And again, number 40 is probably going to do fucking God knows what she do. But I do suggest, as a leaving cert student for last year, and looking at it and closely monitoring it, that it is beneficial. And a lot of students too got into college and things like that, which is very good too. Give them an opportunity, give them a chance. Let's be honest, it give them a chance. It give them a chance to get there, to get to college, to have the opportunity. And it was very beneficial. Like, there were some students that were very poor in my school, and you would have got apprenticeships, they got different things, and that's because too, with the predicted grades, the points, you got a good lot of points, and were very generous. Obviously because the year that was in and everything, the X, Y, and Z. But a lot of students that were very you had less resources. Let's put it that way. Did do well, and they got more than they expected. Like, some of them are sitting in colleges that got grants from colleges and things like that, and were able to go to the places and able to do the courses they wanted to do, and that's all because of the predicted grades too. And the system was implemented last year, so it is good for people that are in in disadvantaged. That's the word, disadvantaged backgrounds. But yeah, so let me know what you think. But I do think it shouldn't be cancelled. The leaving cert shouldn't be cancelled. Let me just stress that. I do think last year's way is the way it should be. Having predicted grades and having the choice to sit your exam. Because again, I just want to stress this again to people, because a lot of people outside the school system think the predicted grades, you just sit there and do nothing in the class. You still have to do projects. You still have things, assignments and things like that you have to hand in, and you still have to turn up for school and do your work. Because that all goes to the predicted grades. That all goes to the teacher to predict your grade, everything that you do in the class. So it's continuous assessment too, from the beginning of from the leaving cert, beginning of the year, going into the 6th year, going into leaving cert. It's continuous assessment on everything that you do, and the teacher assessing you on everything that you do in all the subjects. Take for example English, poetry, poetry, and then you have maybe a film. You have to study a film in English in the leaving cert. The teacher grades you on that. Again, this is all continuous, and obviously the teacher knows you're better than the examiner, and knows where your strong points are and where your weak points are. And obviously that can be reflected. But at the end of the day, it can be a lot more fair than the examiner too, which is what we need, because again, we're only human. Let's be honest, we're only human. Young people can't think of 110 things at once. But again, particularly, I even know when I was doing the junior cert, it's very stressful. You had exams. You had one exam in the morning, and you had another exam in the evening, and it's a lot in your mind. It is a lot, sitting in an exam for 3 hours, so some people could leave. But again, and then the next day you have the exams, then the next day, and then the next day, a week of exams, and it overrides the brain. It does. For anybody, it's stressful. But yeah, hopefully maybe they come out, they do the exam, they do the structure they had last year. And the only reason why they did it because number 40 was literally forced. Everybody in the country literally was up in arms. And it wouldn't have been fair, because we all returned to school in March. Leaving certs returned to school in March, and we were expected to get everything done within a few months. It wasn't feasible. But yeah, let me know what you think and subscribe for more, and bye.